So Shekoli, and welcome back to my channel. It is Yugatsununi here, meaning she's happy, and I am going to do episode 2 of the Ranty Aunty, and we're gonna talk about, from the title, hopefully you've seen, the beauty by Bianca and her ignorant comments on missing murdered Indigenous people, and well, specifically women, and her apology and what not to do. So it's cold tea, right? So it's been a while since this happened. This happened in May of 2020, and but it's just interesting to see, like, you know, what's happened now because of it, and what are the consequences. Were there any consequences for her? So yeah, if you're here for the video, thanks for tuning in, and be sure to like and subscribe. I know a lot of people think that my Ranty Aunty is super funny, so let's get into it and let's talk about the issue at hand. So if you're not aware who Beauty by Bianca is, because I wasn't either, I was not aware until this occurred, and you know, frankly, it's kind of a good thing that I wasn't, because you know, her content and her content doesn't align with like my preferences. So that's all I'll say. Like, that's why I'm not subscribed or a fan or whatnot. I didn't talk about it at the time because I was still like waiting for things to see how they would unfold, and like I know it's been a lot of time later, like, because this happened in May and it's now January 2021, but I think, like, I did some research on different videos that were made, and there wasn't a lot. So I think there needs to be more out there that are talking about this issue, and like, because to me, looking back, like, it basically looks like she went unscathed. So my numbers that I have for as of today are like as of 2021. So on Facebook, Beauty by Bianca has 1.2 million followers. So that's huge. That's a huge following, and so that gives the level of insight of how known she is. And then on Instagram, she has 640,000 followers, and so that's like a lot of people that like look up and listen to this girl. And like, she's makeup artist, she does makeup, and she's very talented. I saw her apology come across my in the makeup group. People were talking about it, and they had posted her apology, and like, they're kind of like, what do you think about this kind of thing, and like, I don't know. And I didn't know she had a large Indigenous fan base. And so
no, I know, but I'm just saying, you know, they have their own laws, and you know, people can get murdered there and they don't solve the murders.
Well, they can get murdered here and go on the reservation, and they have their own laws if they want to.
Yeah, no, but women go missing and like they don't do anything about it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. I thought that was crazy too. I had no idea about that. I was like, I would never want to live there. I don't want to get murdered and raped and killed.
it's like, as being an Indigenous woman, like, and you know, just like the higher chances of me going missing or me being murdered are staggering, and it is concerning, and it is so to be talked about so frivolously like that. These are people's lives. Like, this is not just something to, like, you know, to have a random conversation about. Like, and it's not even done, like, you know, she tried to talk about how, like, oh, she just found out, like, and that she wanted to raise awareness about it, but she knows that she didn't do it, and like, it wasn't with malicious intent or whatnot. So anyways, so she said that on her Instagram live, and you know, things blew up. People got heated because, of course, like, you know, you're gonna dismiss a community's concerns. And so she issued this apology on Facebook, because that's where the most of her fan base are, which, okay, good. To address that I was misunderstood on my previous live stream. Misunderstood. So let's unpack that. So it's not, I want to apologize for my actions, I want to apologize for what I said. It's I would like to address that I was misunderstood. You misunderstood me, and so you're wrong, I'm not. That's how it comes off, okay? So we're getting ready, we're getting amped up. I apologize for talking about a sensitive topic and not taking my time to speak and explaining myself that way, that this important issue should have been addressed. Okay, so, but you're not getting at the crux of the issue. To me, that's saying you're sorry you talked about it in a way that it shouldn't have been talked about. But it's like, I'm sorry I was ignorant and I spoke on something that I shouldn't have, and I won't do it again. Like, that is end of story. That could have been the simplest apology ever. But anyways, so she continues to go on, And she's saying she didn't explain herself right. It's like, you said what you wanted to say, girl. Like, I take responsibility for that. Okay. What I meant in my live stream was that the government mistreats Native women. Okay, not just Native women, all Native people. So okay, I can agree with that. Native women, many Native women go missing, raped, and sadly killed. Okay, like, where's your grammar here? Not because they live on a reservation, but because this country has failed Native people. Okay, but like, let's talk about that. Like, because they live on reservations, that is significantly, there are instances, like, they make us more vulnerable, and they make people, have to look into other types of work that might put them at risk and make them more vulnerable. Like, especially here, and like, I can't speak for the US, but here in my area, like, Indigenous people are the most vulnerable people in Canada. Like, you can't expect, like, I don't even know how else to explain that. So she says, not because they, okay, many treaties broken, ... Okay, sis, like, okay, girl, like, we gonna act like we know what a treaty is after we just didn't even know what this stuff was? That's a reach. Okay, carrying on. Many treaties broken, even now with COVID, with the pandemic. They do not have all the resources, and it again is because the government has failed them. Okay, it's not just the government though, it's society. Like, if there were more people using their platform like you to advocate and to call for more services and to reach out and to donate money and to do all that stuff, then, problem solved. There'd be less problems. But no. I was trying to bring awareness, and again, I apologize for not taking my time to speak on a very important and sensitive issue. So you apologize for not taking your time. Okay. I'm not this person many of you are trying to make. And so I think what she's trying to say there is, I'm not this person many of you are trying to make me out to be. But it's like, girl, like, you said it yourself. Like, it's not, no one told you to say it, no one put those words in your mouth, no one's changing what you said. You literally said it yourself. So it's like, how are people making you out to be anything other than what you are? Like, obviously you have biases against Native people, or why would you bring that on? And why would you talk about it? Like, I don't, like, if I'm gonna go on Instagram Live, unless it's like a specific session to educate people so they know what they're talking about, they know what they're walking into, then I don't think it fits. Miss. Okay, never would I say anything or do anything that would belittle a minority. Okay, really, we're not supposed to be belittling anyone. Don't matter if they're a minority or anything. And like, that is just, you're trying to save face. I promise to no longer bring up this subject, as I would not want to upset anyone. Okay, but that's part of the problem. Like, to me, that's the biggest problem, is like, people don't want to talk about these issues when, they get called out or they misspeak or they do something wrong. It's like, but then does that mean that we shouldn't say anything when they misspeak and they speak out of turn and they're not? Like, use your platform, bring on people that actually know what they're talking about. It's not that hard. Like, don't stray away from it just because you misspoke. Like, everyone makes mistakes. Learn from it. Like, that's my advice. And she said, or give misinformation, as I just started learning about Mmiw. So if you just started learning, why would you go and then tell your viewers, your 500,000 plus viewers, or people that follow you, that, like, that this is the reality? Like, you know what I mean? That's so, like, in the way that she did it, was like so matter of fact. I'm like, if I live on a res, I'm gonna go missing, I'm gonna get murdered and all that stuff. Like, it was just like icky. Like, why would you do that? Thank you again for taking time to read this, and I apologize from the bottom of my heart. And there was 12,000 reacts. There was 5.6 thousand comments at the time that I snapped this screenshot, and she took it down, so I had to find an old video. And then 1.6k shares, because a lot of people are sharing this. Yeah, it's ridiculous. She apologized from the bottom of my heart, but then the next day, you're gonna go up on Instagram and post a picture with you putting up your middle finger and saying, like, F the haters. And it's like, make that make sense. Because we're not I don't agree with haters who are like uttering, you know, death threats and stuff like that. Like, that's not okay. I don't think that that's a way to go about it. You know, that behavior isn't warranted, and like I think that just perpetuates the stereotype that Indigenous people are violent, and that, you know, we're uneducated and all that. And like, so that's like, it's like that whole saying, like, an eye for an eye and the whole world goes blind. So a lot of people, you know, just wanted to get back at Bianca because of what she said, and like, I don't want that. I just want her to know why she said what she said was wrong, and know the gravity of what she said, because I still don't think she does. And I think her, like, you know, pulling back, or her, like, you know, staying quiet for a little bit, like, it was probably just a PR stunt, you know. One thing too, I feel like a lot of people don't have the understanding or the awareness of how sensitive this topic is, because it's happening every day. Like, I get it in my news feed, on my Facebook feed, people are sharing it, like, this young girl went missing, this boy went missing, like, you know, like, it's killing us, like, and it's so heartbreaking. So then the biggest, one of the things, screenshots got leaked of, like, someone saying, like, why did you turn the comments off on your post, and why are you deleting and blocking comments? Because I seen that was even happening on Facebook, and people are like, hey, why am I getting blocked? Like, why am I getting deleted? Like, that's the same thing. Like, I'm like, these social media apps give so much power to the people who are creating them. The petition that came out of this, and the petition had a lot of support. The petition had 696,000 signed, and it was asking to remove Bianca from Morphe Cosmetics and BH Cosmetics permanently. And so if you do, because I was googling Beauty by Bianca, and there was a Morphe page that was linked, but then when I clicked it, the link was broken. So I'm like, okay, does that mean they're off? Like, but I think, to me, I tweeted Morphe a lot, and it would have been nice to see that if Morphe would have said something back or made a statement, like how they dropped Jeffree Star. It's like, they need to, you know, make publicly statements, say, oh, we don't condone, because people were actually emailing Morphe, and they're like, oh, we have no control over what they do or what they don't do, and like, we blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, but you work with them, you literally send them, like, you can send them checks, they have Morphe codes, like, you can stop doing that. Like, that's like, so there's like brand accountability, like, to not work with these people and to not support people who you know, are racist. Like, that's one thing. And like, and that's the thing, like, do I know that Bianca was being racist? Do I know Bianca was doing with any malicious intent? No, I don't know that. I have to just take it from her word on it, and from her Instagram live with Fawn Woods. And like, it was just such an entitled attitude too that she had on that live. Like, it was like, oh, educate me, like, I just want to bring on people and educate me. And it's like, girl, like, take a class. So if you're also wondering, how do I learn more about this topic, like, there is a MOOC, it's called a master, and it's through the University of Canada. So Dan Levy actually took that course, and he did a bunch of videos. It's called Indigenous Canada, and you can watch those videos on YouTube. I recommend that. Like, that would be a good starting place. And like, even signing up for the course, taking the course, seeing what it's like, and seeing how it goes. But so in terms of the petition, there was actually a counter petition that were like from her fans that were saying to support it, and it was ridiculous. It didn't get a lot of support, thank goodness, but it was like, really, people are really gonna out here like condoning their behavior of their faves. And like, I watched a YouTube video of a girl who was like, oh, people want to know my opinion on the Beauty by Bianca situation, and like, there wasn't a lot of views on the video, but I did make a comment, and they were like, the person making the video was basically like, oh, edgy, like, whoever, you know, if I was in that situation, like, I would have done the same thing, like, you know, there needs to be more education about it, like. And she was like, I took it as like, she was like, oh, I'm so educated, like, I'm gonna do my master's of social work, and I'm gonna be a licensed social worker, and I was never told about this. And it's like, yeah, because the education system is working, like, that's like, and that's because it doesn't want to actually tell the true history, like, that's the problem. And that's why it's systemic racism, and that's why it's allowed to continue and be perpetuated. So I, you know, commented, and I'm like, why is it on Indigenous people to continue to educate you, and why do you feel entitled to that education? Like, it's like, everything that I've learned about my culture and about who I am and about where I come from and about, you know, all that stuff, like, that's taken years and years of studying, of talking to elders, of like, you know, and there's certain protocols and ceremonies around that. So it's like, you don't just get to like demand education from Indigenous people, because that's not fair and that's not right. Like, you don't, like, nobody owes anybody anything. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, to me, it's like a gift. If an Indigenous person wants to share something with you and wants to open up your mind and, you know, give their experience and talk about what they went through, like, that's a gift, and you need to honor that, and you need to be thankful, and you need to be grateful, and you need to take it in. I'm not saying like it's the be all to end all, and you don't talk to anyone else. You have that one token Indigenous friend, like, because there was even comments, people like, oh well, like, my friend's Native and they said that it was fine, or blah blah. Like, no, that doesn't work. Like, doesn't work. Don't do that. Please don't do that. About talk to Bianca on her Instagram live with Fawn Woods, and they're like, oh, you should do a look for missing and murdered Indigenous women. I was like, please don't. Like, just, to me, that would make me uncomfortable. Like, I get it, like I like her idea of like sharing and reposting and sharing her platform and stuff like that, but I don't think that's continued. So like I said, it was deleted on her Facebook. I don't. And after I saw the video where she said that, and the way that she was saying it and the tone that she was saying it was like, almost like, to me, like, this is my opinion, this is my interpretation of it, like, she was like disgusted, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was like, can you believe that? Like, and it's like, and that's the hardest part about being Indigenous, is like that there's so many stereotypes and prejudices that are placed upon us, that we're just looked at as like these communities that are like lawless and anything can happen there, and nobody does nothing about it and nobody cares. And it's like, no, we care. No, we do. So that was the first thing. Like, so I guess I don't Auntie's gonna have some advice for Bianca. First of all, Bianca, don't stay in your lane. If you don't know anything about Indigenous issues, about missing and murdered Indigenous women, don't speak on it. Zip your mouth. So that's number one. And like, Indigenous people are busy just surviving, and they don't have the time or the energy or the resources to then go and educate and call out and tell people why they're so wrong. And we are seeing that there's an influx of, you know, our Indigenous youth who are exposed to these type of behaviors, and it's really damaging for their self-esteem and for who they are as people. So, you know, this auntie don't like to see any of that happen. She goes on to say that she didn't even know about what Mmiw was, and so it just, like, that to me echoes how ignorant you know, all of Turtle Island is, like, both the US and Canada. Like, it's one thing too I wanted to talk about was Rich Luxe's video. Tutorial browse, yeah. So like, literally the second day after all this was happening, she was back to posting regular content, and then she took a break and didn't post anything until May 22nd, because people still continue to, you know, hold her accountable. Like, that's what I want. I want to see people held accountable for their actions and do better and learn more, and not just like, oh, I'm never gonna talk about it again. It's like, that's not the solution either. Do something about it. Use your influence for good, and, you know, take an online class. You know, there's gotta be resources out there, and so I know there is resources out there. But yeah, so that was my episode 2 of the Ranty Aunty. Let me know if you like that more, and if you have any video ideas that you want me to cover, any topics, and thanks for tuning in. Nagiwa. Bye. Shake my head. Sorry, my dog wanted some love. So I'll just let her get some cuddles while I continue on with the video. Can I continue on? Are you gonna keep yelling? This is my feisty res dog that I have here. She just needs a little bit of love.
Wow, what are you doing? Get out of there. My dog is being silly. My dog's mad. Valentine. Valentine. My dog's name is Valentine. It's okay, Valentine. Is there? Oh, what's the screen? I was like, there's something on my teeth. My loud res cars are disrupting the video.